So what is an urban sketching symposium? It's an event where people who love drawing on location get together to take workshops, see demos, listen to talks and sketch. For 3 days they explore a city through drawing. This year the event was in Poznan in Poland and I was lucky enough to secure a sketchwalk pass. In this video I'll share my sketches and show you what was in the goodie bag all the participants were given. So this is the sketchbook I took with me to Poznan. It's my usual Stillman Birn Beta series. All the details be below. A big thing I noticed this time was instead of business card, people had stickers, which is really nice. I managed to get a few, but some people literally had the whole books covered. I'll put everyone's name down below and their connections so you can see. I think it's a really lovely idea. There's a couple from the sponsors as well, but sometimes with business cards you could just keep them in a pile or something, but with stickers you can actually use them. This was the one from the goodie bag. So let's start off in the position so you can see both sides. So before I went, I did a little sample of some of the colours I had. Wrote a little bit about my first impressions. This was the first sketch, the sketchwalk. The first sketchwalk. We had a programme here. This was around the parish church, which is this one at the end here, and each one had a sort of like a different theme. That's that one. And this was a view of the church from the other side. I sat outside a shopping centre for this one, and there was these scooters parked here and a few people walking past. And I put the hydrangeas in Poznan are great because they were amazing. I've never seen hydrangeas look so. The blooms were huge. There was loads of them. They obviously really suit the soil there. Not much to do with sketching, but I thought that was like something I noticed. That's that one. So this was lunch, one of the cafes. They had all this sporting equipment hanging down from the ceiling, lots of lights, things like bikes on the wall, bike seats. It was quite fun. Obviously the ubiquitous sort of like delivery driver in the helmet in there waiting to pick up the order. This was something that was in the book, the programme, but I cut it out because I thought it was quite funny. The idea that there's always things that happen when you're out sketching, and they'd made like a bingo card for us. Didn't quite get a line, but I definitely did a few. This is one of the shopping centres. It had this, like, well, it probably wasn't plastic, but this sort of like fascia on top of like the structure, the glass structure, and I was just walking past it and I thought it would be fun to draw. There was quite like some big shadows and things like that. Obviously you got the white van parked in the way, which I thought was going to go quickly but ended up staying there for a while. So this was the second sketchbook or the third one, I think. Let's have a look. Oh, the sketchwalk on the second day, Cathedral Island. We got the tram there, about 100 of us. I'll show the video because it was quite funny. It was like a school trip, and on the tram it was like, if ever you've been on a bus where children come out of school and they talk like lots of little birds, you can hear this constant noise. Well, it was like that, but yeah, it's quite funny. So I drew this. I was concentrated. My favourite sort of colours, the greens and then the terracottas, these big towers on top of it, and forgot about the rest of it, but it was quite fun to do. This was later that evening in the town. I'd arranged to meet up with a couple of people and we started drawing, but I don't think my heart was in it, if you can sort of see it. It was getting a bit cold and I was chatting. So I like to think of these ones as the ones that got away, the ones that you had good intentions for, but then you sort of drifted off. Also, I felt quite tired by this point. I didn't do an awful lot of sketching, but I'd also been going around looking at some of the touristy places as well. Went to a croissant museum where they did a little performance about making croissants, which was very funny. And I also did like a walking tour, walking around the sort of major sightseeing points and hearing a little bit about history. So it's always nice to do some of that when you're somewhere new, and if you do that you can't do all the drawing, so it's a balance, isn't it? So yeah, this is the one that got away. The third day of the symposium we went to the Imperial district here, and it started raining, so I was going to do lots of towers. I had the idea I was going to do this spread with towers, but did one, it started raining, so I went to a museum which is all about the Enigma Cipher Centre, it was called, and it was about these 3 Polish cryptologists who had done so much work and analysing the Enigma coding machine. I didn't really know how much they'd done. They mentioned Alan Turing at the end a little bit, and the fact that he took it on a bit further during the Second World War. And also, when I got back, I watched the film The Imitation Game to see how much is mentioned in it. I think there's 2 sentences that mention, they talk about the Polish people that were involved, but they're not mentioned by name. But when you go to this museum, you see how much work, and it was them that led it. They called it a relay, the idea that they were doing something and then they passed it on to the next people. It was a really interesting museum, and if you go to Poznan, I really recommend going there. After that, obviously need some food, so it was into a ramen restaurant. I did eat some real Polish food as well. I had some pierogi, little dumplings, and some other bits and pieces. I had some this St. Martin's croissant, which is the local cake that everyone talks about. It has it's sort of like an almond filling, a bit like marzipan. It's very heavy, quite sweet, just what you want from a cake, I think. I'd been given, like I said, on the front I've got loads of stickers, but I also got some other cards and bits and pieces. This was from the walking tour. So there were this row of very colourful houses, which if you look up Poznan, they're the first sort of images that come up. They're actually rebuilt because a lot of them got destroyed during the war, but and they have all these different designs on the front of them. So I thought I would use my cards that I'd had, and this is a label from the luggage, and some stickers and bits and pieces, a ticket from the transport, and I'd use those as the fronts of the buildings and then just draw the tops. It was quite fun sitting there. It was getting very cold by this point. The weather was very nice most of the time, but it did get a bit chilly. This was the last morning before I left. This guy here, he's called Mr. Periscope. If you see, he's on the front of the programme, and he's a character designed by Noriaki, who's like a sort of Polish Banksy, so no one knows who they are. And all around the city there you'll find little bits of some street art with this character. And this is a sculpture, obviously showing the character again. And this was these were some of the urban sketches sitting around drawing the periscope man, and then he's sort of looking back at them. We took some photographs as well, looking into this curved surface, which was quite funny. I thought it was a really nice little scene with everyone around, like a bit like everyone around the campfire or something like that. So that is actually, I think, my last one. I didn't do an awful lot of drawing, but I chatted to lots of people, and I think the quote was, someone told me, if you don't go to a symposium to draw, you go to meet everyone. And I certainly had a really nice time chatting to so many different people I haven't seen for quite a long time. It's a really fun event. If you ever get a chance to go, I really recommend it. It's difficult to describe, but it's just the fact that all these people are doing this sort of solitary practice of drawing, but you doing it together, and you know, like you walk around a corner and you meet someone you know, or somebody says, "Oh, we'll recognise your work," or there's all this sort of thing, and it's definitely a life-affirming experience, but very tiring experience, I would say. So those are my sketches. Now let's have a look at the materials I was given. So what actually is in the goodie bag? So I've got, this was my lanyard. I got a free drink coupon, which I didn't use this time, and then we also got a discount in one of the food courts in the shopping centre opposite. This is the bag, sponsored by Daniel Smith on one side, and then the logo on the other side. This was very cute. I thought this is a little palette from Szmal. I'm probably going to say the name wrong, but I'll put all the details below of all the sponsors. So it came with 4 colours. I haven't tested them out, maybe I'll do that at the end. I think this blue is a special blue they made, but space for 8 more, but I just thought it was really nice because it's like just fits in your hand, and I'm definitely going to use this again. That's that one. Had a sketchbook from Stillman Birn, a little small one. It's the one I usually use, so this is definitely going to get used by me. A nice bookmark. I had some samples. Hope you don't mind, I'm going to open some of these on the way because I didn't get a chance to look at everything. So we've got some samples paper from their sketchbooks. So a cold press, they're different weights, and then another one. So I think actually these are usually quite useful to sort of have a good look and see which ones you like using, so maybe I can do a test with that later. That's from Etchr. This was a no name for this one. There we go. I think it's a accordion book. Oops. Yeah, so you can see that would be nice to use. Again, different sort of paper. It's got the maker on it. That was there, wasn't it? It was from Arte Miranda. Yeah. This I thought this was quite nice, by Aurora. I thought it was just going to be a notepad, but then inside it's a bit like the sort of thing where people put textures on paper beforehand, but this is all just in black and white. So it's going to be interesting to use. Some of them are lovely, lovely big swooshy marks. I suppose you could use it for letter writing as well. I thought that was really lovely. This one's lovely, isn't it? This sort of nice thing. So that was very good. They also gave a little bag, which was always quite handy to have something like to pop stuff in. This was some watercolour samples, I think, and a little piece of paper. Core watercolours, Q-O-R. I think I've had one of these before. Again, it's good to try the colours, and there's like a little mini palette in the back there. Some more watercolour. These are called haiku cards from SMLT Art. Let's have a little look. These are quite nice. They're like very big postcards, really. I think that would be quite nice to use at a workshop or something for people to use. I think that's, how many did it say were? 12 cards. Good. Some more testing paper. This was from Magnani, and then so different colours, different weights. Quite a very textured one there, 400 gram. Be interesting to try out all these different ones. Got a book from Lectum, which is a sort of square one. And we've got a bit at the end. And also it's embossed. I don't know if you can see it. See if I can get it up to the close. Have a look. See if it works. Sort of embossed. This was funny. This is from Nishant, who's got a new book out, Make Sneaky Art and Other Ideas to Build Your Sketchbook Habit. So it's actually a permission slip from him. And it says, this notice hereby grants its bearer permission to observe the world, make sneaky art, not care what anyone thinks. Signed, Nishant, sneaky artist. So I'm definitely going to use this one. So some other things I have here. I did take them off, they were on cardboard backing. So there's a brush, size 4, quite nice. A big chunky Cretacolor black pencil. A 14B pencil. There was a bit of discussion about this, how soft it was, so I'll have to try that one out. From Faber Castell. One from Lectum to go with the sketchbook too. A 1.0 fine liner from Winsor Newton, which I'll use. Another pencil, this one from the Arte Miranda. One of the Derwent Inktense pencils, this one's Paprika. A Daniel Smith extra fine watercolor stick in quinacridone sienna. I've not used these, so that'll be interesting to see how that works. Some titanium white opaque gouache, so that's nice as a mixer to make paler colours. A little scarlet watercolour, I think. I can't read it, I need a magnifying glass. Renesans. I'll put it below what it is. Plastic rubber from Tombow. And this little cute, I'll move to get this one in view. This little cute pin badge, which I only found quite recently because it's right tucked to the bottom of the bag. And this is the logo from the Symposium, Mr. Periscope. So that's what I got in my bag. Hope you enjoyed seeing all the contents, and I think I'm pretty much going to use most of the stuff, and anything I don't use I'll give to someone I know that will be able to use them.